concept of modified internal rate of return, in short MIRR. Now, if you can recall from the past discussion, while computing net present value, you always have an assumption that your cash inflows are going to be reinvested at discounting rate. So assume that your discounting rate is 10%, and when you try to compute IRR of the project, suppose it goes to 15%. Now what is wrong with IRR? I have already explained you. Something wrong with IRR is when you attempted the calculation of NPV at 15% discounting rate, maybe the NPV would have gone to 0. Why? Because IRR is 15% and you have adopted discounting rate of 15%. So NPV comes to 0. That is proving that your project's IRR is 15%. But what is something wrong happening over there? When you pick the discounting rate of 15%, you are trying to assume that your cash flows will be reinvested at that 15% rate. But the fact is, if the expected rate of return, which is a realistic rate of return, which represents opportunity cost of capital, if that is 10%, you can never make cash flows reinvested at 15% rate or any other rate other than your usual discounting rate. Therefore, the faulty assumption of IRR, which led the IRR being unreliable or unrealistic, we would want to arrive at the correct version of IRR. That is what we call as modified IRR. It is very simple to do. What you just need to do over there is, you have to consider all the cash inflows from the project and first let all these cash inflows be reinvested at the original discounting rate. So the problem of wrong assumption getting involved with reinvestment is knocked off. So all your cash flows, first you reinvest these cash flows and arrive at a cumulative future value, which will be one single amount at the end of the project life. Because it is one single amount at end of project life, simply determine its present value such that the present value should match with the cost of the project. The moment you are using a discounting rate to match the future value with the cost of the project, the discounting rate so applied will be the true IRR, which will be called as modified IRR. And that is why, if you can recall those 3 steps that you have written some time back, the first step was to reinvest all the cash inflows at the proper discounting rate, the usual discounting rate, to get a lump sum future value. Then you discount that lump sum future value to a present value, where the present value should match with the cost of the project, and if required you may use interpolation. But here, when you are using discounting rate, even if it is higher than your usual discounting rate, it will not create a wrong assumption situation, because henceforth you are not reinvesting your cash flows, because all the cash flows have already been accumulated at the maturity or at the termination of the project. So those 3 steps that you have written, let us start taking calculative examples to deal with those calculations and observe how to determine modified IRR. Let us begin with question number 21. Let us read this question. Cost of the project is given as rupees 91,329. Life of the project is 3 years. Annual cash flow is given as rupees 40,000 per annum. Applicable discounting rate is 10% per annum. You are required to compute NPV, IRR, future value of cash inflow with 10% discounting rate, future value of cash inflow with IRR as discounting rate, and then modified IRR. So friends, actually speaking, the first 4 requirements of the question, you have already learned how to determine that. The only new calculation for you is modified IRR. But instead of jumping directly into modified IRR, let us step by step look into the entire process, and once we are done with this question, we will also write up those shortcomings in the IRR method, which is made good by applying the concept of modified IRR. So let us begin with the solution, and in your solution you first compute NPV at 10% discounting rate, and because the cash flows are constant, you start with the annuity factor. Annuity factor for 3 years with 10% discounting rate is 2.486852. That multiplied to annual cash flow of 40,000 would give you total present value of cash inflow as 99,474. From that, you subtract the total PV of outflow, that is 91,329, and you get the resulting NPV as 8145. Now, the next thing that the question is asking you to do is to compute IRR. Now, one thing is for sure, that NPV of the project at 10% discounting rate is a positive NPV. That means the project must yield a higher rate of return, higher than 10% definitely. So let us make a trial using a 15% discounting rate. So we are again recomputing NPV at 15% discounting rate. We are using the same process of calculation, only the figures will change because the discounting rate now is 15% per annum. This time we are obtaining total PV of inflow as 91,329 and the total PV of outflow is also 91,329. The resulting NPV is therefore 0 or nil, and as the NPV at 15% per annum is nil, we can conclude that IRR of the project is 15% per annum. Let us move ahead and now determine the future value of cash inflows. For this purpose, please observe the timeline where I have plotted years as 0, 1, 2, 3. The cash inflow at each of these points also is known. At 0 year there is no cash inflow, but at year 1, year 2 and year 3 there is cash inflow of 40,000 each year. Now, each of these cash inflows will be reinvested for the remaining period of project life. For example, cash inflow in first year will be reinvested for 2 years, cash inflow in second year will be reinvested for 1 year, and cash inflow in third year will actually not be reinvested. To find the maturity value of all these reinvestments, what you would do is 40,000 which is reinvested in the first year end for 2 years, it will have maturity value of 40,000 into 1.1 raised to 2. Then another 40,000 will have its maturity value as 40,000 into 1.1 raised to 1, and the third 40,000 will remain as it is because that is not actually being reinvested. The future value of these cash flows, when these cash flows are reinvested at the usual discounting rate of 10%, it comes to rupees 1,32,400. Let me take you ahead and now show an alternate way of calculation by using the formula for future value of annuity. I have already explained you application of this formula. So as per this formula, you will first compute an annuity factor which will be 1.1 raised to 3 minus 1 divided by the discounting rate, that is 0.1. When you do this, you get the future value of annuity as 3.31. This represents annuity of rupee 1. That will be multiplied to the annual cash inflow of 40,000 to arrive at the future value of annuity, which is obviously going to be rupees 1,32,400. So friends, do you notice in each of these solutions I am showing you two different versions of calculations. In exam you apply that calculation which is suiting you. We can however use this future value of annuity formula only when the cash inflows are uniform each year. Now let me show you something very important over here, though it was not asked in the question, but that is what we can gather from our analysis. If your discounting rate is 10% per annum, means your expected rate of return is 10% per annum, what you could have done, you could have simply invested rupees 91,329 for 3 years at 10% per annum, applying the annual compounding for 3 years. The compounded value or the maturity value will be 91,329 into 1.1 raised to 3. The future value of today's 91,329 after 3 years, in that case would accumulate to 1,21,559. But if you invest 91,329 into this project, the future value of cash inflows has been accumulated to 1,32,400. So investing in this project is giving you some surplus value, correct? And that surplus at the end of the project life is 10,841. If you find the present value of this surplus, the present value of this surplus would be 10,841 divided by 1.1 raised to 3, that comes to rupees 8145, which is nothing but the net present value. So 10 times we have discussed in your class that NPV is nothing but the present value of a surplus. Let us move ahead and do the same calculation now using discounting rate of 15% per annum, which was actually the IRR of the project. So we again recompute the annuity factor for future value, which comes to 3.4725, and when applied to the annual cash inflow of 40,000, what you get is a lump sum future value of rupees 1,38,900. Now what you do is, if you invest 91,329 today at 15% per annum for 3 years, what you would have obtained? You would have obtained 1,38,900 accurately. What does that imply? That if you are investing in a project with 15% as your expected rate of return, the expected future value of your investment does not have any difference at all. That means when you compute NPV with 15% as your discounting rate, you will definitely get zero NPV because there is absolutely no surplus over here. But what is something going wrong over here? Here, discounting rate being 15%, you are indirectly assuming that all your cash flows are getting reinvested at 15%, which indeed is an unrealistic assumption. And that is why, to rectify this assumption, we are going to apply concept of modified IRR. Let us move ahead and now compute the modified IRR. For this purpose, the future accumulated value at the usual discounting rate, which we have arrived at as rupees 1,32,400, will be discounted using higher rates. To make trials, we are taking two different rates, 14% and 13%, and the present value of 1,32,400 of future value at 14% and 13% rates are rupees 89,366 and 91,760 respectively. From this, when you subtract the initial investment of rupees 91,329, what you will get is NPV. And here, can you notice one thing, that there is absolutely no possibility of wrong reinvestment assumption, because 132,400 is basically the future value of cash flow which we have arrived at by reinvesting each of the cash flow at exactly 10% rate, not at 13%, not at 14%, but at the usual discounting rate of 10%. So now, if we interpolate these two rates, 13% and 14%, we will be getting IRR which will be free from the wrong assumptions, and that is what we call as modified IRR. Let us move ahead and now interpolate these two rates, 13 and 14%, to determine the modified IRR. We are using the same interpolation formula, and you know how to apply it. I don't have to explain you this again and again. And when we find that modified IRR, it comes to exactly 13.18%. Shortcomings and errors involved in IRR method. The IRR method in capital budgeting presumes that the cash inflows generated by the project shall be reinvested at such rate of return which is IRR. Obviously, the cash inflows generated by a project will not remain idle and will definitely be reinvested. However, reinvesting such money at IRR is not possible. These cash flows can be reinvested as per the available opportunity in the hands of the company. Such rate of return would be company's usual expected rate of return and not the IRR. Let us move ahead and continue writing further. The IRR assumption being wrong, the calculated IRR indicates a wrong calculation because it is based on wrong assumption of reinvesting cash flows at IRR. In the above example, it is clear and obvious that the rate of return of the project is higher than 10% per annum, but certainly not 15% per annum. Therefore, at first, a future value of cash flows should be computed where reinvestment is made at the usual discounting rate. Let us move ahead and continue writing further. To be specific, when cash inflow of rupees 40,000 per annum reinvested at usual discounting rate, that is 10% per annum, will result into a lump sum future value of rupees 1,32,400. A rate of return which can discount this future value of rupees 1,32,400 to a present value of rupees 91,329 will be a correct rate of return and is known as modified IRR or MIRR. Let us move ahead and take up another question, that is question number 22. Let us read this question. J Limited is evaluating a project which has initial investment of rupees 28 lakhs. The project has life of 5 years with annual cash flow of rupees 8,40,000 each year. The discounting rate adopted by the company is 12% per annum. Determine NPV, IRR and MIRR. Now friends, there is absolutely nothing new for you in this question. It is just meant for your practice. I am helping you out with the calculations, but the coming two questions after this, that is question number 23 and 24, are similar to question 21 and 22, which you must be solving on your own. This one I am providing you a solution definitely alongside. So let us see how to present the solution of this question. You first determine the NPV using the usual discounting rate of 12% per annum, and that would result into an annuity factor of 3.604776 multiplied to annual cash flow of 8,40,000 to arrive at the total PV of inflows as 30,28,012. From that you subtract the PV of cash outflow or the cost of the project, or you can say the initial investment of 28 lakhs. This gives you NPV of 2,28,012 rupees. Now that was NPV calculation. Next thing after this, we would want to determine IRR. Now what do we find over here? At 12% discounting rate, the company is having a positive NPV, which indicates that the rate of return generating capacity of this project is definitely higher than 12%. If it is definitely higher than 12%, it indicates that IRR will be greater than 12%. So let us try out computing NPV at higher rates. As a matter of trial, we are picking up some rates which will be nearest to IRR. So we start with a discounting rate of 15%. We make the same calculations, but this time using 15% discounting rate, and this time we find that the present value of cash inflow comes to 28,15,810, whereas the initial investment being 28 lakhs, it results into NPV of 15,810. Now it is still a positive NPV but coming very close to zero. So now we are adopting a little higher rate, maybe at 16%. We try out the same calculation, and what we find now is this results into a negative NPV of 49,593, which clearly indicates that IRR must be between 15% and 16%. Let us move ahead and interpolate between 15% and 16% to find what is the IRR of the project. And over here, I don't have to explain any calculations to you. You know how to do it. This is just a repetition, and IRR comes to 15.24%. Let us move ahead and now attempt computing MIRR. For this purpose, we will be finding the future value of an annuity at 12% per annum for 5 years. And you know, this is the shortest way of finding the future value of cash flows. when each year's annual cash flow is getting reinvested at the usual discounting rate of 12% per annum. By applying this future value annuity factor on the cash flow of 8,40,000, we get the lump sum future value as 53,36,391. That will be the first step in computing MIRR. Let us move ahead, and now what we do is we compute NPV at different discounting rates when we are considering the present value of the lump sum amount which we have just computed as 53,36,391. When we discount this lump sum future value to its present value using 13 and 14% discounting rates, what we get I have shown on the table, that is 28,96,379 at 13% and 27,71,556 at 14%. From that, when we subtract the initial investment, here we are getting NPV, positive NPV at 13% and negative NPV at 14%. So definitely the modified IRR of the project must be between 13% and 14%. Now we know that MIRR or modified IRR is between 13 and 14%. So let us interpolate these two rates and find what is that modified IRR. Now I told you earlier also, there is nothing unusual about this question. Everything is just a repetition over here. I don't have to explain you, but I am guiding you definitely. And I have told you the next couple of questions you have to solve on your own. Modified IRR in this case is 13.772%. Let us move ahead and now take up the last concept of discussion over here, that is multiple IRR. In order to understand the concept of multiple IRR, let me directly take you ahead with a calculative example, a very important question, that is question number 25. Let us read this question. It says cost of the project is rupees 1 lakh, life of the project is 5 years, expected rate of return is 10% per annum, future cash flows are given as below. Do you notice one thing? At 5th year end, there is a negative cash flow. That means when you are winding up the project, you are having an outflow actually. And now you are required to find out NPV at 10% per annum discounting rate, multiple IRRs and modified IRR. So first of all, whenever there is a lump sum huge amount of cash outflow at later stage of project life, it itself is a big hint that there is a possibility of multiple IRR. So what I would want you to do is, first you compute NPV at 10% discounting rate, for which I will give you a couple of minutes. You know how to do that NPV calculation for sure. Once you make that calculation, then only I will take you ahead. So for your reference, I will just show you the presentation format over here. So can you see, I have included 0 year also in the table with a negative cash flow of 1 lakh, which indicates initial investment. So now we have two different negative amount of cash flows, one at 0 year and one at 5th year. And let us see whether you get the correct NPV or not. Let us check what is your answer and whether it is correct or not. The correct answer will be a positive NPV of 2823. Now obviously I have used Excel sheet calculations, and your calculations may be little different because of rounding off, but it is fine if you are getting difference of 1 or 2 rupees, but too much of difference is not good. So NPV at 10% discounting rate comes to 2823. Now when we are getting a positive NPV at 10% discounting rate, it definitely would give you indication that IRR of the project is higher than 10%. We will try out and get the IRR of the project which is higher than 10%. But when the cash outflow is a substantial amount at the end of the project life, which is given over here as a cash outflow of 92,000, or I would say a negative cash flow of 92,000, it definitely indicates a possibility of having not one but two different IRRs. So we should not ignore trying out at the lower discounting rates also, which eventually we will do. So let us make all the calculations first, then we go for the analytical part. So I am now trying a discounting rate of 21% and I get a positive NPV of rupees 56. Now apply 22% discounting rate and you would check that NPV goes to negative. It is a negative 400.595, or you may round it off to negative 401, whatever. But it is a negative NPV at 22%, clearly indicating that one of the IRRs will be lying between 21% and 22%. Now we have one clear evidence that one of the IRR will be between 21 and 22%. Now once again let me explain. At 10% discounting rate there was a positive NPV, so it gives you a clear indication that the IRR of the project must be greater than 10%, and therefore we have worked out higher discounting rates and we could find that one of the IRR will be between 21 and 22%. However, because of a huge negative cash flow arising at end of the project life, there is a possibility that there may be more than one IRR, that is particularly two IRRs, and one IRR could be at a rate lower than 10%. So we cannot ignore that possibility. Let us try out making the calculation of NPV at lower discounting rates and see what happens. So now we have made a trial at just 2% discounting rate, and you will be surprised to observe the result. At 2% discounting rate you are getting a negative NPV. Actually speaking, with lowering the discounting rate your NPV should have increased, but in this case where there is a negative cash flow at end of the project life, lowering the discount rate may actually lower down the NPV also, and that is evident from this calculation given on the screen. So what we identified, that at 10% discounting rate there was a positive NPV, and at a lower discounting rate of 2% there is a negative NPV, and this NPV appears to be very close to zero. So we would now try out using 3% discounting rate and check what happens, and when we do that we get a positive NPV at 3% discounting rate, that is approximately rupees 631. Now there is another clear evidence that another IRR would be between 2% and 3% discounting rates. Let us move ahead and summarize about multiple IRR. NPV at discounting rate of 2% is negative 106. At 3% discounting rate it is positive 631. Then at 21% discounting rate it is positive rupees 56, and at 22% discounting rate it is negative 401. So the first IRR would lie between 2% and 3%, and the second IRR would lie between 21% and 22%. Let me show you graphically how this would appear. So generally what we find, that on the x-axis we would be taking discounting rates, and on the y-axis what we get is NPV. So with the increase of discounting rate, NPV would go on declining. That is the usual trend we have seen, but over here it will not be a curve that would decline. It will be basically a curve that will first move upward and then go downward. So we have identified that at 2% and 3% there was the first IRR, means the NPV would be 0. At 10% discounting rate NPV went to its peak. Then again at 21% and 22% we had found the second IRR. So instead of a line trending downward only, there will be a curve which will first move upward and then go downward. This is indication of NPV ranging from 2% to 22%, and therefore we find over here not one but multiple IRRs. To be more specific, there will be two different IRRs. That is why we call this as a scenario of multiple IRR. Let us move ahead and now end up with the calculative part. The first IRR that lies between 2 and 3%, just interpolate between 2 and 3% and see what you get. What you get over here is the first IRR that is 2.14% approx, and the second IRR lies between 21 and 22%. When you interpolate the same, what you get over here, the second IRR would work out to 21.1225% approx. Let us now understand how to resolve this problem of multiple IRR, and the only answer to this is determining modified IRR, because anyway IRR assumptions are not going to be appropriate, so we are knocking off those wrong assumptions of IRR, and when you compute modified IRR, the problem of multiple IRR automatically would get resolved. Let me show you how to do that. Calculation of modified IRR, calculation of future cash flows at the end of 5th year when these cash flows are reinvested at 10% per annum, and you know what you have to do. The first year cash flow 80,000 will be reinvested for 4 years, second year cash flow 70,000 will be reinvested for 3 years, third year cash flow 30,000 will be reinvested for 2 years, fourth year cash flow of 10,000 will be reinvested for 1 year, and fifth year negative cash flow would remain as it is as a negative cash flow. When you sum up all these values, the future accumulated value of these cash flows will be rupees 1,65,598 when we have reinvested all these cash flows at 10% discounting rate. Keep into your notice one very important thing, that the initial investment over here has not been considered. All these cash flows have been now dragged to end of the project life, that is end of 5th year. Now what we are going to do for computing modified IRR, we are going to just discount these future values at different discounting rates, and let us see what happens. So we pick 10% and 11% discounting rates. The present value of that 165,598 at 10% discounting rate comes to 1,02,823, and at 11% it comes to 98,274. From this, if we subtract initial investment, we get the resulting NPV as positive 2823 and negative 1726. That indicates that MIRR must be between 10% and 11%. So now interpolating 10 and 11%, what we get as the final value of modified IRR in this case as 10.62% approx. This modified IRR is also a solution for the problem arising in situations of multiple IRR. So in this type of situation, if you want to know what is the proper IRR of the project, the answer will be modified IRR of 10.62% approx.